Good? All right. Okay. Good afternoon, guys. Thanks for having me. They said I have to self-introduce myself. Just before I get into that, I thought that talk desk presentation was pretty cool, right? And really, what he talked about was the what, right? About I would say the AI. He went into some technical aspects as well. But guys, you guys, raise of hands. Who knows what AI is really? Like, I mean, come on, it's a topic. Like, no jokes. Raise of hands. Like, is there anybody who's more technically inclined over here? We all CX professionals, right? And you know what? I was thinking just like last week, in fact, even this week, that maybe I should just, you want to probably do the timer? Thanks. Maybe I should just cancel this presentation because every other week, I was thinking of literally picking up the phone and calling the conference producer because every other week, Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, they're just dropping bombs, right? And I'm like, okay, I gotta keep, updating my presentation, right? How is it going to be relevant, right? So this space is moving really fast. And I said, let me make the presentation a little bit more foundational in the way I wanted to, build a case for operational excellence in CX and AI, and how we can go about it. Just for out of intrigue over here, I can see there's a good number of people here. Just wanted to know, do we have anybody who are product owners over here? Because we're talking about product. All right, raise of hands from CX. No product. Okay, maybe people who are within, I would say, innovation or entrepreneurs in the room. Maybe raise of hands. No. Okay, that's great. Okay, so now I know who I'm talking with. So it's good because then I've actually made this presentation in a way that it can just educate everybody in a way that you guys will be able to take away something. And apply it at your work. So I know it says the word products. It should technically say AI applications because when we refer to the word product, it's really like TalkDesk is a product. Ada is a product, right? Google Cloud, ChatGPT, that's a product. So technically speaking, what this is going to be about is AI applications. So what are the topics we're going to be covering today? Okay, so looks a little bit wonky, the fonts, but that's okay. So we'll go into an intro about myself, right? The case for CX and operational optimization, and then a little bit of foundational aspects on AI landscape and examples, and then innovating to build AI application. This is where the meat of the presentation is. So I'll probably try to whiz through most of the first part, right? So a little bit about myself, right? I'm the CX lead at Sanofi General Medicines. For those who don't know Sanofi, Sanofi is a pharmaceutical company. They focus on vaccines. They have a vaccines plant up in North York, focused on diabetes, cardiovascular, specialty, rare blood diseases. And I'm working with the General Medicines division, which is mostly on the diabetes and cardiovascular. And what I really do is as a CX lead, I manage the CX program over there, working cross-functionally across all teams, right? You have the analytics teams, product teams, content teams, CRM teams. And the goal really is to ensure that our go-to-market strategies are optimized in a way that meets customer satisfaction. So we have a score called CXQ, which is equivalent to the NPS score. So CXQ is a customer experience quotient, which is the pharma equivalent to NPS score. So that's what I do at Sanofi, and I think just a bit for context, how come I'm talking a little bit more about analytics, advanced analytics, AI, operational excellence? What's going on here? So yeah, we're trying to work on some use cases in Sanofi, which I can't really share much, but just to take a step back as well, like how I got into this space. When I was at GSK GlaxoSmithKline, makers of Pronamel, Sensodyne, they had million-dollar budgets. There was a lot of data. Folks in the room who are from CPG, you would know that there's a lot of data, demand data, Nielsen data from marketing and media. So I was working in marketing and media, and there was so much. I was so impressed by it. I just graduated in Master of Management and Innovation entrepreneurship over there. And I said, I gotta be in this space, in this data analytics space. I was speaking with the data scientists, and I said, well, there's so much opportunity to optimize and get in front of the customers to actually really build that sales pipeline as well. So, when I was speaking with Google data scientists and other tech folks, I just couldn't level with them because they were very analytically focused and they were less risk averse, right? So, so what happened was I said, I'll take a management of analytics program, right? And I'll do that, and then I'll go through this journey, right? Side note, and we can chat about it, I was rejected 3 or 4 times to get into that analytics program, but eventually got in and graduated in 22. So right now, I'm actually doing side passion projects, right? Through CX Lab, I call it, and building an AI POC. And I'd love to share my experience in this, right? And how it's connected to CX as well. And I'm hoping that you guys will get inspired by this. So, the whole premise of CX Lab, or even, what I'm trying to achieve here is, data-rich use cases, right? So you think about optimization in marketing, manufacturing, supply chain, customer operations, right? So, think about improving your targeting. Think about areas of, brand lift study or brand recall. These are the things that we use to optimize, but we're doing this in a manual way. There's so much data everywhere to do that. So these are while these are data-rich use cases, what's happening is, you're doing all this manually, and the team sizes are shrinking as well, right? Think about manufacturing supply chain as well. The outcome of that is, efficient logistics, so that you get to you get product on shelf on time, so that the customers are actually finding the product, right? So dynamic pricing, if you are competing with your competitors' pricing strategies, so that they can come and buy from you. So you're really translating into CX. These use cases actually translate into CX. But the beauty about these use cases is that they're data rich, right? So the outcome of this is there's a huge impact of better customer experiences and outcomes across that value chain, right? But what I really love about this is the cost-saving aspect, right? And I've actually done this to prove, and I'm happy to share with you detailed use cases of how I've done in past companies, maybe not at Sanofi, right? Cost savings of $2 million upwards dollars in media spend, right? In fact, realized efficiencies in there, built more impressions as a result of that. And you'd be surprised, because in media and marketing, you would say Google has an AI that would actually optimize you to do that. No, the whole thing is broken because you have SEO, you have your website, you have your media across YouTube and search, and the whole thing is actually broken if you go in, and it's a little bit more nuanced and technical. Happy to share more details about that. But yeah, saved a lot of, I would say, media dollars through those optimizations. So that's inspired me even more to say, hey, you know what? Imagine if we can automate all of this. Imagine if we can actually automate real-time customer behavior analytics, getting from insights, right, to action. Right now, it takes me a long time. I don't know, we all CX leads here, right? And I think, if you're actually doing optimization, gaining those insights, gathering the data, getting those insights, and then going to action, right? How much time does that take you? I mean, think about it. And then you're waiting for your data person to give you, and then you're waiting for that BI to load, and then you're making the deck, and then you're trying to sell it to your teams. Imagine if you could go through all that process in such a short period. How fast would you take actions and then actually deliver on those optimizations and be able to build that customer experience? So just to build a case around this, what we're looking at is two charts. I don't think so you can read properly there, but what it's showing is, I love the first one. I think you guys will all like it. Customer experience leaders across industries outperform peers by 2x on revenue growth, right? And how that's happening there in the chart below, it's showing, on the x-axis, it's talking about customer lifetime value across the journey of a customer from acquisition, retention, and win back, right? And you can see that blue line there, right, shows a higher customer lifetime value when you are actually using data to do your cross-selling and retention activities, improving your services. This is a very specific use case with a telco company. By the way, I love McKinsey charts because they do really some serious research there. And what you're going to see here is using advanced analytics, they call it customer value management, right? They're able to build that customer lifetime value, right? And improve the win back as well. So essentially, focusing on operations can actually translate into your customer lifetime value and revenue as well, right? Apart from actual customer experience and satisfaction. So that's the case, right? So let's get into a little bit on foundations before I get into product of artificial intelligence, right? So, and I'll whiz through a little bit of this because I just want to go through a little bit on, level setting on a few definitions here. I mean, if you think about this, right, deep learning, which is where LLMs sit, is a subset of machine learning, which is a subset of artificial intelligence. So you might think, oh, all of these are synonymous, but no, not really, actually. These are different concepts. So think about machine learning like your recommender engine. Deep learning is neural network with your LLMs, right? And artificial intelligence is that mimicking of human intelligence, right? And there's a quote there from Andrew Ng, co-founder of Google Brain. And how did we get there? I mean, why are we here, really, right? There's a nice timeline there. I really like that because, right now we're in the AI zone. But you know what? I was just thinking, I was just reading up somewhere. It was a post. It was a video post. And they were talking about how electricity, when it was launched, right? Built, whatever. Yeah. It actually, was very expensive, right? And as it started getting cheaper and commercialized, new industries started coming about. And then the utility started becoming very cheap. All of us can, pay for electricity now, right? So it becomes cheap. So as it becomes cheap, then it's in your household as well. Same thing's gonna happen with AI, right? It's getting cheaper. And if you want to get more insight into that, read that book. I think it's an old book, 2018. This posted from 3 years ago. It's a screenshot. But Prediction Machines, it talks a lot about this, right? About the economics of AI. And it's really fascinating to see where exactly AI is headed. So what are the economic factors behind this change, right? You're looking at big data, compute power, new tech, right? NVIDIA's innovation, reduced AI chip costs, right? That's driving this, right? Government policies, you've heard about Trudeau's announcement on the $2.4 billion investment, right? Gen AI investment is growing 5x. It's crazy. And then we're looking at, immediate value. I think I really like this one. I put a friendly bot over there. I think, it's funny. These bots are becoming kind of like friendly, aren't they? I mean, aren't they our friends now? We just go and ask them questions. Like, imagine that voice, ChatGPT 4.0, right? I thought that was very interesting. Side note, I actually, when that got released, I said to my wife, let's try this out and let's make this thing into a therapist and let's just do this. And we did that. It was interesting. I can let you know how it was after the session, how did it go. But yeah, it was an interesting session. So you see, there's a lot of the social acceptance that's happening with this. I mean, 180 million ChatGPT users, and that 400 million Copilot users was in January. And you're seeing those are paid users actually, right? So that's from Microsoft. So you're seeing all that happening, and hey, let's not forget there was an evolution, right? We didn't just get here. There was this Netflix, data science, everybody was saying big data, everything, Amazon, recommendation engine, autonomous vehicles, right? So those things actually helped us be more, I think, receptive to what's going on now. But it's going very fast from here on. And then big tech wars, right? That's also taking precedence. Reminds me of when I was 12 or 13, in 95 or 91, I think when, it was Microsoft versus Apple, when they were launching their products, right? PC products, PC versus Apple. It reminds me of something similar right now. So cool to just witness all these big tech wars right now. So we're in really unprecedented times, and I think it's fantastic to witness it. So that's what's driving economic change, right? And what we're seeing is, now we're getting into the product space, right? And what we're seeing here is a lot of companies are adopting products, right? And building their AI applications to drive the CX and operational excellence. And I love the Morgan Stanley case. LLM came out immediately, the financial data and all the, advisory information that they have in their database, they fed it to the LLM, and now they have more effective advisory services, right, using NLP. But that's interesting because that's created more efficiency for the teams, but it's translating into the customer again, right? Same for, Instacart as well. You can see Instacart, I mean, they have been doing this meal planning, right? When you go into the shopping cart, it'll produce a meal plan for you, and maybe even some recipes. That's pretty interesting as well. You have Walmart, your usual suspect in terms of customer-facing services, back-end operations for inventory planning, automating that process so that product's on shelf as well. And then American Express fraud detection, that's a no-brainer. And then Vodafone, and these are just some. There's so many out there, right? Vodafone one is pretty interesting. Billing is automated, right? But then they're using that. So TalkDesk probably could be something. Vodafone's Toby might be a TalkDesk, a similar software or program. So I don't want to get too much into this. This is a very technical slide, but I thought, you know what, I want to put it. Why do I want to put it? I don't know if you guys can read it, but don't focus on the ones beneath, right? What you guys are going to focus on is in the top layer. Why is that? Because that's where we are the users, So that's where AI apps sit, like your chat GPTs, LLMs, etc. Data-driven apps, this could be search, your Google search app or whatever maybe. Your data visualization, that's your Microsoft Power BI, for instance, right? So those are us as users of these softwares. Behind that is all that stuff that's going on. And enterprises actually do invest in that, right? You show this to your technical team, they'll get that, right? Because so when we do start deploying TalkDesk or Ada, that's when the technical team will be like, okay, I need to start thinking about that cloud infrastructure. How's that? What's happening with security? Because there's data going in there. So they're going to have a chat with the TalkDesk or Ada tech teams as well, right, to understand all that process. But then you can also use this model to actually build a customized infrastructure, right, with your customized apps. So enough of all this, technical stuff. Let's get into some business stuff. So if you look at this chart here, no-brainer organizations are seeing the benefit, and that's back in 22. That's what we have TalkDesk today, right? And what we're seeing here is, how did that happen? Okay. So what we're seeing here is, product and service deployment, okay? All right, so something's up there. All right, product and service deployment, 55%, adoption there, service operations, 54, risk modeling and analytics, 15%. It's the stuff that we've been talking about, right? And this number probably grew a lot now, right? So, and it's actually helping, and people are starting to continue to see those benefits as well. There's a lot of information about that out there. So getting into product, right? And before I actually do introduce you with a framework of how to build products or how to do AI applications in your own company, respective companies, I love this quote. And I think as CX leaders, you guys would have seen this video by Steve Jobs. And he said, you got to start with the customer experience and work backward and not force that technology, right? And what that means is, and what he said was in the video, if you recall, he said, I've got the scar tissue to prove that. And what he's really trying to say is that you do that and it fails, right? Because you can take a chat, you can take Ada, and you're like, hey, this is sexy, I want to put it in, I want to put it in the customer journey, it's got to be there, it's AI, it's sexy, but then nobody uses, or the customer's not happy. Why the hell am I talking to a bot? Maybe that's not what the need was, right? So you need to think about the user needs very, very deeply in this one, right? It needs to be honed into user research. So you're going to see a slide here, which is, unfortunately, you can't read because of some presentation issue here. It looked proper in my on my laptop, but anyway, I'll walk you through this. So it's a proven 8-step process. I know it's so do I, but if you just allow me to walk you through it. So the first step in this process is really looking at that problem statement and thinking about that, how might we, right? That's why I asked, do we have any product people or innovation consultants or anybody out here, right? Because this is what you would do. This is what you would actually think through when you're building an AI application. You would think through the problem statement, then you would do an ecosystem mapping. You know, thinking about all the players in your at your company, you know, around the stakeholders and your competitors, etc. You know what that value chain could look like. Then you're going to say, like, okay, based on that problem statement, okay, what are we solving for? What's that value or benefit, right? And you're really honing into that. You're looking at who's that value benefit it's going to, who's the target audience, right? And then you get into the legacy. Then you actually really investigate and see, okay, what are the legacy services and products that we're solving for? It could be a problem statement within our existing processes. Okay, what is the legacy system right now, right? And this is where you would look at things like jobs to be done and things, operationally speaking. Then you would look at thinking about what are the data sources, where they're coming from, right? And I think this is a very important piece when you think about AI applications. Okay, are you scraping the web? Is it coming from your customer interactions, etc., right? Based on whatever that problem is. And I'll show you an example where we actually nicely fit this in. And then you think about those big ideas, you go through an exercise of prioritizing it, and then thinking through why it might actually fail, and start building the prototype and measure it across the exercise. Now, I know I put 5 minutes there. Usually this can take 3 days, a week, sometimes a whole day. I didn't update this, but this was actually done with a group of retail executives over 2 hours, which I can show you an example of. But building POC products or AI applications, so if you wanted to implement things like TalkDesk or Ada, you want to think, okay, you want to actually buy that product. You're not building it from scratch. You're not customizing it. Okay, you want to think about your data or infrastructure and think about the use case, the customer problem, the value, the business value, actually, right? The Agile team. Now, the Agile team comprises of your product owner, data scientist, business analyst, tech DevOps, Scrum Master, right? So it's important that you have that team in place. And then budget, especially if you're actually buying. Sometimes I think Ada is actually providing it for free to try out a POC. So summary of that workshop, right? One more slide after this, but summary of the workshop was really powerful because within 2 hours, right, the problem statement was for e-commerce, right, for CPG companies to look at advanced analytics use cases across DTC because they're going more towards, if you think about CPG, they're going more towards direct-to-consumer model, right? Rather than go through the retailer. So how do we sell direct to consumers? So the team came up with values such as, okay, we want to solve for brand loyalty, grow market share, increase revenue, etc. And the idea that they chose was really interesting, and this is what I wanted to actually just hone into and allow you guys to understand that, you see, they came up with a recommender system for customized for customized experiences. So recommender system is not innovative. It's a product that already exists. So, but what they said through their research and brainstorm and the solution that they wanted to go with DTC, they said, let's build a recommender system that's going to solve for pain points for a segment of customers. So a recommender system that's segmented, right? So if you think about Amazon's recommender system, it's more generic, right? I buy a product, most likely, okay, he wants to buy this, right? But this is more profiling customers and then actually building. So innovation and product development does not necessarily need to be, net new. It can be based on existing innovations, existing technologies, and how you actually utilize that for your own problem statement. So in this case, obviously, it's personalization at scale. So a roadmap on how you get started. It's fairly simple. Identify objectives. We went through ideation and discovery, and then build, test, deploy. But I want to just focus a little bit, and we can have a separate session on this. It's people and processes, right? I mean, that's so important. I don't know, somebody asked that question, and speaking with Jason about it earlier, was they were asking about unionized, how do we deploy the call center in unionized environment? That question was actually a change management question. That question was actually an empathy question, right? Because what happens in this transformation process, we all just really so anxious about what's happening to our jobs, right? So I think that, along the process, you don't want to forget about transformation and people, really speaking, right? So yeah, so that's a takeaway for you guys, and thank you for any questions.